did a very special thing. My painting over here, she has interpreted and written a beautiful poem about it. And when I read it, it made me cry, made my heart so happy. And so let's invite Angela. Kind of ringing.
A little bit of feedback.
See if we can get the sound. How's that? Is that any better? Better? More better? Big time more better? No? Feels all right to me? Okay. Can you hear me? Yes. A little bit more? Okay. All right, as Linda was saying, she sent me a card that had this beautiful, beautiful painting, and it happens to be, that's that. And so, pardon? Right there? Wow, okay. And so I decided to do an ekphrastic poem for the painting, and so I sent it to Linda, and she seemed to enjoy it, so I thought I would read it to her. This seems really close.
Yeah, but it sounds wonderful.
Does it sound, okay, good. It just feels like very, all right, here we go. So this is called The Living Tree, and it's based on this picture, this painting, that's titled Tree of Life. It's an ink and pencil drawing by Linda Marie Cosa. And here's the poem. The Living Tree. A self-contained vessel for an eternal voyage. It sprouts as if from mere rock, stretching its determined arms and roots into the concrete forest. It fights the relentless waves of unpredictable elements. The firmament littered with the remains of shredded thorns, nails, and the skeletal fossils of its predecessors. A lone bird circles the tree's drying arms, seeking to nest among the chasm of the vast unknown. The tree's life-giving femininity, a pink coral softness, assures sensuous birthing, while blooming to its own full potential. Growing arm after arm of her ancestral tail, generations enter, wave upon wave against fiery storms and the rock dam of resistance. Okay, so I'm going to continue with a poem that came out of the Texas Poetry Calendar for 2014 by Los Gatos Press. This one is called Hija de Texas, Daughter of Texas. And because I am a bilingual poet, some of my poems are bilingual, so hopefully in the context, it'll make sense, so I don't have to translate. Hija de Texas, Daughter of Texas. The body seeks the way back home, and mine the long way there. I followed the bloody trail to Europe, pre-Columbian Mexico, the Mexican-American War, and then to Texas, donde nací. Texas, from the Caddoan Taisha, meaning friends or allies. The second largest state, a country really, from vast plains and rich valleys to snaking rivers and mountainous chains under a Lone Star banner, with echoes of 6 flags still waving their altering hands, saluting nations that once claimed the land, colonizing, encroaching on Apache, Caddo, Coahuiltecan, Comanche, Choctaw, Jumano, Kickapoo, Kiowa, Tonkawa. Amigos y enemigos, embroidering a grand history, birthing wondrously mingled sons and daughters. Today, I am at home in my Texan skin, piel canela, voz bilingüe, corazón tejana. Okay, I took an online writing course, and as a result, I decided to try a sonnet for the first time. So bear with me. This is called Tug and Pull. Tug and pull. Inside the place where dreams are free to roam, live too the demons of our mind, a tug and pull that greets us every day, at home or anywhere on earth. Our head a fog, or worse, a pit where monsters roost and rule, where saints are sinners too. Like flames that burn at will, our paths are ashen dust. We fool ourselves to think we hold the reins. Our turn comes every hour to keep failings on hold, so we can meet our goals, our loves, our best, and disregard the rest. Like peeling fruit, top layer tossed aside, the inner sweet desire, and better yet, the seed, the gem to have and hold, and see what sprouts again. To all of you who write sonnets, I really have admiration for you. It's not easy. All right.
Good.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, this is called an elegy for Sylvia Plath, and how many of you are Sylvia Plath fans? Okay. So there's some allusions on here to her work, so hopefully you'll pick those up. Can people hear me back there? Okay. How could you have known that a mere audio machine would resurrect you 4 decades past gone? Your imagery preserved like juggled helium balloons in mid-flight. Sows, tulips, and maggots locked in your infinite corral of black thought, hanging on a canvas of abrupt ends. Ravenous mind, once whirling on the edge, still prickles our senses, black boot to synapses. No god or goddess pulled you back from the cosmic vacuum as you slipped into its belly. Now worms keep you company. Colorful seasons, yours no more. Your final train arrived devoid of engine or conductor, its whistle a lonely wailing shell. The future and past melding, our skulls graze your coffin on our way to ice. We glide on the next breath of your lingering words, peek through blinds of a spiraling universe as we inch onto unclaimed acres of sand. Your liquid voice ringing to my ears survived your untimely ashes. Lady Lazarus rises off the white sheet that draped your lifeless body. Okay, this is a short one from my chapbook, and I have a migrant background, so this will speak towards that. It's called The Rug Woven. The rug woven from the soul of a plant gone too long from home, now lies on the wooden floor, birthed from the rib of a tree, no longer sleeping with its feet in warm soil, or hands of campesinos hanging to gather fallen fruit. Their knees kissing the tired earth, bodies going home to the threadbare blankets and rugs, bundled to cradle restless dreams at the end of startless days. Okay, this is my last poem. It's called Chantico, and I won't tell you what it means. The poem should explain that. So, here it goes. And it's a high button, so it's going to end in a haiku. Chantico. La diosa Chantico rules. All that we treasure, she treasures. She protects our dwelling to conserve her own worth. With serpentine sharpness, she wards off injurious jealousy, envy, striking down trespassers with her cactus spikes. The Aztec divinity transforms into a flaming human to cast thieves into a fiery volcano, feeding her eternally burning belly. No banks, iron vaults, or dungeons protect our treasures from the goddess's covetousness. Crown jewels, pirated treasures, guarded gold bricks are seconds away from her stealthy touch. When tectonic plates shift, forming cracks in the earth, its liquid core erupts, melting all man-made things in its path. It is the ancient domestic goddess, Chantico, taking her diamonds, rubies, iron back into her sweltering womb, so others can rebirth her elements into new riches, meld more beauty and fine structures with their eager hands. Our rare figurines, antique tables, jewelry, kitchen gadgets, beloved easy chairs, and other comforts are fleetingly ours. May we relax, enjoy our blessings, but with a watchful eye. The goddess of home will turn on us if the goods she has entrusted us are at risk, or if our treasure-filled abode grows off balance from neglect or avarice. The Aztecs knew too well all they owned could one day be taken. La diosa, tracking her beloved treasure through generations. Our progeny will soon enough divide our wealth amongst themselves. Yet it all goes back to Chantico in the end. Ground trembles, rumbles, restless earth reminds her treasures alone.
Oh, that was lovely. It was sacred and organically grown, I can tell. And organically written. Our next guest is Chet Taylor, and I really appreciate him being here. It took him an hour to get here. They don't live right here in Austin, so I really appreciate Chet for being here. Let's give him a big hand.
Testing, is that okay? We okay now?
Yes.
Good. First one I have up, it's called The Alzheimer Guy Sees Himself. My poems will be different than the ones you've heard. The light moves in and out of memories, and all I can do is stand here, trying to think what to do. Then someone comes up and stops, asking me if I'm lost. So I show him the card around my neck with a phone number, and he stands with me until a familiar car comes up, and a woman inside who's real nice, who says, "Don't worry, she's my wife." And everyone's happy I was smart with my card, which I put back on. So I feel good I did a smart thing. So I remember being a kid once. But maybe we get smarter growing up. Well, little by little, I'm getting lost. Titled "The Lab Saves Me," my wife and my love life. The doctor's office left word saying my wife's test showed no cancer after all. I told her now life would be better than we feared. She said tonight would be better than I could hope. I know these are a little different from what you're used to listening to. Nothing is ever. Her hair was so thin I could feel the cold skull plate. I lost a loved wife. I need no chorus of where have the flowers gone to know where they went. Life is full of wrecks, but her breasts were like pillows, smelling of blossoms. This is a longer one. Well, I saw my dead wife standing in the sun.
Took me a while. You said
It's been a good day today on the way to therapy group. I saw my dead wife standing in the sun. Strangely, I was not surprised. I always wondered if the dead whispered among themselves. Life hasn't been working too well without her. Everything feels worn down, worn out, worn. I thought nothing would be right again. Sadness is just a feeling, she said. You can see me all day in the sun. At night, I know you miss me in the moon. Things are not really separate, you see. They only seem to fall apart. We have met the enigma, and it is us. I laughed. She's the only one who could have come up with that. Tell no one of this. Tell no one of this, she warned. What goes on in the sun stays in the sun. I'll see you around, I said. She laughed and waved, slowly faded. Things get lost, get found again. As days go, this one was pretty good. Yes, faith is just fine, but I saw my wife standing in the sun. Making little life changes. I ran into my old love. Lovers once, we had argued, then stayed apart. I told her I had once called her, and her mother said she didn't want to see me. Well, now we're old and alone. Maybe not, she said. We had coffee, held hands in the cafe. Logically, existence can't be, yet is. Whoever knows what created such a place, this shifting universe of infinities. Maybe he was Ulysses refinding his wife, waiting, hoping somehow he would come. This one's a little different, called Blind Date. My ordinary experiences of seeing shapes in space without touching them was wondrous to her. She knew it was not good to envy seers, so from then on, I was casual, filling her in about the ordinary things each day. Not as some guide, but including my own ideas, little by little describing things, like the darker rain clouds when we hurry at dusk, as dusk is coming, with the late sun on the seawater, and she felt the heat on her face. She said a favorite mental image were pinpoints when I would describe the far stars in the night sky, where no one's ever been before. She said she felt my frustration of not knowing. When we first became lovers, she said she was nervous, until I told her the night was dark for both of us. So we'd have to make our way together with the sun on our faces in the morning. Some more time. When I visited the hospital before, we recreated our trips as we sailed among more Indian Ocean islands to the South China Sea, sleeping together on layers and layers of blue and orange silks, with the sun sliding over a far end of the earth, pulling fierce reds and purples away with it. Now I could tell her of a new voyage to an Antarctica of huge white and blue icebergs, all floating solid solid and secure, while holding the sun frozen inside. This is called The Poet's Wife is Critic. Better be careful, she's sitting right over there. I like to write in bed with my wife in caviar, just enjoying things as they are. I simply ask her if I should use the verb lay or lie. She replied, I do both well. Senor Sensitivo. I know you're afraid of dying here, I said to my wife in the hospital. But since the nurse is out, at least we can make love one more time. As we expected, she got better and looks forward to the time when she says, when she can make, she says, the same offer to me. Well, I'll leave you with this final haiku. Follow the seasons to the very end to find your love waits again.
Oh, we enjoyed that. That was spicy. Yeah. Peculiar. Yeah. Now we have a real triple treat. Scott Vanya. Where'd he go? There he is. Okay, he is here. Yes. Scott Vanya.
First, just a piece of information. I record all the shows I go to, and in the process of creating a YouTube channel called Open Mics in Austin. So right now it's got like 30 shows on it, but tonight's show I intend the next several days to put it on the YouTube channel, the Open Mics Austin YouTube channel. So if there's something you don't want other people to see for whatever reason, it could be anything, it's nothing to me, let me know and I'll take it off that film and then it'll go up. The second point of fact is I have like 27, I think, or 28 ebooks online, and also on Publishing Spirit Tom, and he's Publishing Spirit Tom, and he also has like 20-something books online too. And so he's not in town, but I'm thinking about it. You guys find it weird, right? In a song I recorded a couple years ago, I talked about being before I got manic depression, was hospitalized, how I really wished I could say the word bird and there would be a bird in my hand, or that I could hold up my hand to my friends and a flower would grow out of it. So I'm going to sort of break that promise tonight, because at the end of the song I say I don't think about that anymore, but this is sort of the place for this. So. Out of my mouth grow vines, green and lush, leafy. And they twine along the floor along your feet. And yet inside me, I look down into where the growing comes from. And I look within, and I see a deep, empty space. And yet if I look further, out where the vines are growing, I see happy, smiling faces. And I know the vines wouldn't grow anywhere if it wasn't for the fact that inside y'all's ears, deep within you too, to that place that is doing the listening, there's also an empty place too. And if we conjure that place for a moment, we can see a sun and a moon and all the planets are nothing to us. But then you come back from that place to a world where there is a room full of people, each with their story to share. And you know that outside, that deep forest within us where all the trees grow and the crickets are humming, there's a world out there where people are blind to the equalities of others. There's a world out there where hatred still exists. There's a world out there where hunger and starvation and pain still are. So what do you do in a room full of 40-something people who happen to know their insides and know that in them there's a space that those hungry and those starving and those poor people also have in them? Want to know? You sing it out. You say, thank whatever powers you believe in that I'm here and I'm among friends who care. And whether there's a tune to this or a song or an open sea, doesn't matter. But I see lights in front of me and they shine on more than just me or this room. I see lights on me that are the center of all things, and into all the others they shine too. Because it's not just about one room's full of pain or joy or laughter. It's about the whole world's joy and laughter. Do I let the vines come back into me? No. I give them to others so that they might cherish them, nurture them, and like unto themselves let their vines out. And pretty soon the world's covered in moonflowers. She does not want to play tonight, so I'm gonna take a break from her. She's like, woo, boy. Let me try doing something standing up and see if these are working better. Hang on a second. I had, and y'all, this is the perfect audience for this. And it just happens that I mentioned that to my father that he would see this later. And actually, in my life, there were two fathers. My father of blood, maybe even three. And then a spiritual father, which is Spirit Tom, who's guided me and told me to be myself no matter what and let it all hang out, and do the you thing. And so I love that, and I feel liberated. Oh, and I was born and liberated by two different people. And I told my father I was going to work tonight, or come up here and play, whatever you want to call it. And I would send him a link to the show or to my piece. So this is sort of a really cool, weird, synchronistic moment. 2 days ago, I got a letter, an email from my father, who, to me, is, and y'all, I'm sure y'all met people who are poets, but they don't know it. They have no clue they're poets. But every letter I've ever been written from him, every word he's ever said to me is full of passion and meaning and love and zest for life and honor and dignity and integrity, and the list goes on and on. And to me, that's what poetry is all about. That's the parlance of what poetry is, to be honest and open in church. So I got an email, written in beautiful language. He says, I want you to think about this long and seriously, and don't write it off like your mom would. I know she's sort of a knee-jerk reaction. But we were watching a PBS special, and there is an organization called edx.org who have poetry classes. And they do them for free, and they're taught by a Harvard professor. That's not the punchline. The punchline comes later. And he said, and because he and my brother and a lot of people are sort of getting swept away on this whole love thing, joy, creative spirit, which is cool, that's what it's all about. And so, on one, I feel deeply honored that he would take the time to do this. And the real catch on the one that stuck in my throat, well, one, he prefaced it well. He said, you should think about this. So he already got me. You know, I can't make a knee-jerk reaction. He says, I need a motivator to take the class with. Would you register for this Harvard class with me, this online class with me, and we'd study poetry together? I finished reading the letter. At that point, I balked really severely. But I love my dad, both of them, or more. So, for the better part of 20-something hours, I let it mull and steep. And I don't know if y'all are like me, but I'm a 4-burner stove, and on one burner can be a pot that can be like chili, or tea, or spiced wine. And they'll just sit there. So it's mulling. How to respond? What do I tell my dad? So today, I was blasting off emails to everybody. Come to NeWorlDeli, it's going to be a great show. They're touching the plane. It's a great place to play. Come to NeWorlDeli. And thought, well, looks time to get back to it. So, dear Daddy, and I see my brother taking this money too. Dear Daddy, I've been doing this for 30 years. Since I was about, my first real poem came out when I was about 13 or 14. And I've been doing open mics since I was 18. And I said, dear Daddy, I've been doing this for 30 years. And I've found poetry is something you can't help but do. I started writing a long time ago, and I was writing, I didn't like say, oh, you know, I'd like to write a poem. I just wrote. And I wrote and wrote and wrote. And as I wrote more and more and more, people started saying, hey, you know, that's really poetic. That's what you just said, it's poetic. And so I wrote more and more and more. And pretty soon it became more and more living poetry, you know? That's what I told them. And I said, I followed it up with, you are called to it. Poetry is something you must do, because if you didn't, life would be meaningless. To me, the non-poetic is as if it's a preconceived notion. There's an emptiness that is non-poetic. So life is abundantly poetic. So I said to him, if you need a motivator to call you and drive you to poetry, I think you should find some other way to go. This is not something where I sit down and say, I want to make a point. Boom. It's life. The best thing I've come up with recently to tell somebody, I think they're in the audience, is if you're a real poet and you love life, because I think that's a qualifier. I don't think you can hate life and be a poet. It's just a personal preference. I think people who write hateful poetry aren't really writing poetry. It's personal preference. If love life and meaning with the utmost of your being, then everything you do is poetic. And I think y'all can sense that, because sometimes you're like sitting out watching the leaves blow, or cars going by, and you're, man, that's really poetic. It's because you're a poet. Everything you do is poetic. The poems that end up on paper are small, tiny fractions. They're fingernails of who your poetry is. I'm glad y'all listened to me. I apologize for my issues that she and I had. So we'll point on that. Maybe in retrospect it will be different. But I thank you for lending me your ears. If you gain anything, let it flow out. Be poetic constantly, just all the time.
Thank you, Scott. Coming from the heart, and that's where we listen. We listen from the heart. That word theosany means listening from the heart, and he just spoke from the heart. So let's see now. Oh, we have Susan Summers, that cowgirl over there. Yeah, let's hear it for Susan.
I don't know, Scott, I think you need to rethink that. Sometimes people say, I want a motivator. What they really want is somebody to hold their hand because they're afraid. And there are lots of ways that we can motivate one another. I think that everybody in this room helps motivate each other by coming to listen and participate. I think it's a great thing. And I always love to learn more and in different styles and keep going. So, my black Stetson. Yes, I'm wearing my black Stetson. And do I have the right to wear this hat? I'm no cowgirl. It's been years since I've ridden a horse, and I've never successfully roped anything, except a man. However, I do like a good smooth whiskey, and I have played poker till dawn. Fired a few guns at tin cans and mistletoe, and I know the lure of dirt roads. I've drunk moonshine by a bonfire way out in the country, and homemade blackberry wine by the muddy river. I've rebuilt a car engine in the garage with my dad, and rode with him in an overweight, wide-load 18-wheeler with no tag, no insurance, lights, radio, windshield wipers, or seatbelts across Georgia to deliver a tractor with no clear title of ownership. Now, there was a time that I could play a mean game of 8-ball, and I have set trot lines and fished with chicken livers in a pond at night while trespassing. And I do love wailing in the Willie and the boys and their songs about smoky old pool rooms and clear mountain mornings. And, well, maybe all that just makes me a country girl and not a cowgirl. And does that give me the right to wear this iconic image of wide open prairies and cattle rustles and wild Mustangs? Well, hell, I'm Texan now. And my understanding is that Texans don't really care what you think. So I'm gonna wear my Stetson in outlaw black, because I got people back in Georgia to catch my back. And I wrote this for my cousin Pam. Lots of fond memories in the summertime. Called Summer Cousins. Favorite cousins in summer tan skin, acting scenes from their favorite movies, dancing to songs on the radio, and making up stories to share and scare. Pretend beauty contests, each taking a turn at winning the crown. Feeling radiant in our homemade bedsheet gowns. Waving to our imaginary crowds. The Brady Bunch on TV was a welcome respite from hot, dusty summer days, Barbie dolls, roller skating, swimming pools, and summer crushes. Watermelon, fresh shelled peas, corn on the cob, pot roast, biscuits, and gravy. Walking down dirt roads, playing hopscotch and jacks. These are the sweetest memories of growing up as a favorite cousin in summer tan skin, giggling neath the covers late into the night. I went on this is what I did this summer. I had a project with Marcy, and she lives in Wisconsin. We became friends through the AIPF. And she wanted to do a chapbook. And I said, well, Marcy, you have a very compelling story. Let's tell that as part of the poems that you want to put together. And so we ended up with these select poems and a biographical narrative. It ended up being a bigger project than we anticipated, but it turned out really nice. The perfect bound edition will be out in a couple of weeks probably, and it'll be available in Bookwoman in November, because she's coming down to do a book launch here in Austin. And this is my book. I can't show hers without showing my own, so that's mine. And I just got back from Alpine. That was a great writing retreat. Learned a lot of new techniques, new ways to write. And so this is from that workshop. And the workshop, Scott Wiggerman taught the workshop, and he worked from a book called Wing Beats, which is published with his press, Dos Gatos. And this Wing Beats 1 and Wing Beats 2, and we were working from Wing Beats 2, and it's a really fabulous educational book for poetry writing. Monsters Within. That was the year I became interested in monsters, because I became one. Trying to unplug a radio from an extension cord, my small hands were weak. My whole body shook as current passed between the prongs, until the moist spittle on my lips burned away. It was a beautiful sunny Sunday, and we had skipped church. I was admonished to clean my room. Mom froze at the sound of my faraway scream. The air conditioner outside my window growled like a werewolf. I landed in a Wile E. Coyote cartoon, seeing stars and bright spots of color. Finally, the cord fell away, and I staggered Frankenstein style, arms outstretched, eyes unfocused as the room pitched and rolled. Metallic gray foam coming from my mouth. Strong arms grabbed me and rushed me to the sink. I fought the water in blind terror like a rabid dog. Now, electricity takes the path of least resistance. The tissue damage was not immediately apparent. Perhaps plastic surgery in the future. For now, the taste of Neosporin. People recoiled in horror at the sight of my swollen, disfigured face and those huge, ugly scabs covering it. I ate through a straw for weeks, and delighted in chasing screaming children on the playground. Something within me had literally been sparked to life. I rushed home in the afternoons to watch Dark Shadows with the elegant Barnabas Collins. Count Justin Sane thrilled me with his maniacal laugh on Shock Theater Saturday nights. Lori and I drew monsters, made monster mazes, created haunted houses, and made up scary stories to tell each other. I was no longer just another pretty little girl. I was scarred. And I had found the power to surprise, even frighten, and dare I say it, to shock. When did I become so grounded? A wink at the devil. It promises good times and brings only trouble. It claims you will be more attractive, more charming, more fun, and it attracts the people and in situations which fit you with concrete boots, and then say, wouldn't it be fun to go for a swim? Those false friends who think quicksand is hilarious as you flounder and struggle, and when things get really critical, they disappear. They're the loan sharks, so generous until it's time to pay up. It says, you need to relax, you deserve a break. It's not your fault, come on, loosen up, have some fun. And as you listen to it, you lose your grip on the things that are most important to you, so it can take that too. It tells lies, sets traps, sabotages. Just one drink, one cookie, one pill, one time, just this once. And it gives the litany of reasons why this time will be different. It says, everything's going to be fine. Stop worrying. You're not too drunk, too high, or too sick, too fat. You can drive. You can fly. You can start again on Monday, or next week, or after the holiday. It says people who want you to succeed are do-getters, busybodies, self-righteous know-it-alls. They don't really know you. They can't possibly understand. They've had it easy. They live in a fantasy. It's the snake oil salesman promising to take away all your pain and riding out the next morning before you realize you've been had. It says, I'm your friend, your best friend, your only friend. You need me. I'm here for you. It consoles, wraps its arms around you and whispers, I'm always here for you, and winks at the devil. Caffeine hangover. The coffee has been drunk. It staggered in during the early morning hours, reeking of lost sleep. It doesn't remember everything that happened between sundown and now. It has a vague recollection of music, poetry, talk of love, freedom, peace-filled dreams. Perhaps there was dancing. Certainly there was laughter and loud repetition of silliness. I know you were there when the coffee was drunk, with your rapid heartbeat and adrenaline rush, and now you're sluggish and foggy about the events of the previous hours. You feel the need to become drunk with the coffee again, just to face the day. Good morning, America. It is time to wake up. The coffee has been drunk. All right, I just have 3 more. One fairly, medium, too short. Good? All right. This also came from the workshop. It's called Shaggy Baby. Shaggy Baby went everywhere with me when I Got You Babe spent 3 weeks as a #1 hit. Barbie and her little sister Skipper had fashion sets in stores, and my sister was a princess at halftime in her sequin outfit, short white boots with big fringe tassels, and her brilliant baton. Shaggy Baby didn't have any clothes. My sister and brother worked the fields that summer, and her beauty pageant hands were a horror of cuts and calluses stained yellow and brown from cropping tobacco. The horror of the Vietnam War was broadcast on TV. 35,000 anti-war protesters marched on Washington, and 600 civil rights marchers were attacked on Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. My brother and sister marched in the high school band, the Jeff Davis County Yellow Jackets, and our father was county school superintendent. He said, "We will follow the law and integrate the schools." My soft-bodied doll had matted blonde dreadlocks and plastic arms and legs. Her eyes could open and shut. Homer Wilcox attacked our father and tried to slit his throat with a straight razor. But Dad held on, and he only succeeded in cutting his face. The Voting Rights Act was signed into law. President Johnson used the anthem of the civil rights movement, "We shall overcome," in a speech to Congress. Edmund Pettus was a Confederate general, a Ku Klux Klan leader, and U.S. Senator. Dad's black stitches were frightening, yet he never pressed charges. Vicki Colbert ripped Shaggy Baby. I quietly watched as Mom carefully stitched her up, and I never played with her again. Martin Luther King Jr. led 2,500 marchers across that bridge, knelt, said a prayer, and turned back. And we have a soon-to-be birthday girl in the house. And this is about her. I want to embarrass her because, gosh, she just is so shy. This is called Youngblood. You'll know who it's about.
Okay.
Mysterious woman of darkness or loving Earth Mother, passionate in all her pursuits, staunch protector of her family, talented, creative, filled with amusing anecdotes. She enters the dark void where mysteries lie to bring back light and wisdom. Tireless, relentless, going miles beyond, too hard and impossible. She creates the answers she seeks and runs roughshod over obstacles, not pausing for no or wait. She's a formidable force, friendly to all who respect her and coolly courteous to those who do not, yet always a lady. Fiery and wild as her Irish hair, or grounded and smoldering as her Native American soul, she is the snake charmer, and sometimes the snake. She's shy, don't make a fuss over her. Right. This is Poets and Roaches. This will be my last one. Poets and roaches are well acquainted. Both are survivors. We can live on scraps, hide in the shadows, and still make people scream with fear, madness, and loathing. Smoke us out? Not likely. We're the last of the rebels with a red pack of marbles rolled up in our t-shirt sleeves. Poisonous? We like it. Put a bounty on us. We wear too many disguises. Cut off our heads. We still survive in ink and blood. Equally adept in heavy metal machinery, avoiding the grinding gears, and lacy nightgowns found in cheap hotels or elegant homes. Yeah, we know all Vicky's secrets. We sail the oceans, survive drought, are unaffected by cell towers, unmoved by glaciers. We survive. No matter the background music, we rock on. Fantastic. Hey, wild girl. Yeah, strong feminine voice there. And now we have our last but not least featured reader, powerful poet Monty Jones. Let's give a big hand to Monty. We haven't seen him for a year.
This is called The Ghost of Avenue B. One of those houses from the 20s with a side door you could find past the out-of-control wisteria. In the rain, it brushed you with water when you tried to duck under it. It left wet pollen in your hair. Inside, you were inside a green box where a wall of windows reached high into the arching trees. Through the night, you could listen to the rain drip among the branches, rain bubbling like the mouth of a spring. To catch the first bus, you walked out in the first light in the middle of the street through the tunnel the trees made. The birds sang over you as if for you, filling the world, their plenitude allowing you and carrying you down the street. Past the grocery with its broken screen. Past the house with the woman at the piano, her Liszt, her Chopin, her crying out. A succession of people lived there. They saw and heard everything, the rain, the birds, the piano, the hinge on the door, the swaying of the trees, their own footsteps as they walked down the street to the bus. There was a sign in the yard this morning, but the emptiness of the empty room is an illusion, an old trick. The bats. For the first August evening in many years, I walked out to watch the bats emerge from under the bridge and fly down the river to eat bugs until morning. And I can report that not much, if anything, has changed. The same 1 million bats taking off in jittery waves into the blue landscape. The same 400 people looking and pointing, the families with twin strollers, the tourists, a few foreigners. Only my bad ear, my knee making enough difference to tell time has passed. Time with its gut full of gnats, squeak like a hinge in a gate, oversized ears a twitch. When it grew too dark to see the full spectacle in the sky, people started back, eyes on the uneven sidewalk, on the shadows that darted under the streetlights. Then lightning in the east, far off and theatrical behind the clouds off the Gulf. Someone said, someone's getting rain, and then those bats had better hurry. A pause, and then another sheet of lightning, and people saying all the other things people say. Hare Krishna. Now, many of them, young and old, have taken up more ordinary lives. More likely now to blend in than stand out. They might look more like you or me, might live next door, but they are said to be still singing, even if now mostly to themselves. I used to see them every day at noon across from the university's main gate, chanting and jangling, their heads shaved, one of them with a tambourine, one with some sort of foreign drum. Then for years they were at the airport. Some people detested them for the noise, for the cult, or at least the cultivation of unreason, that they worshiped demons and preyed on the hungry and gullible young with promises of drugs and frenzied sex. They did make a lot of noise. They would be old men by now, and women, there must have been women, although I don't remember any among the little group I would see. They could be telling their grandchildren about the way things were. Once I drove out across the continent, across the prairies and the plains, over the mountains and deserts, into the glades of redwoods and sequoias, down to the rocky coast as far as I could go. Every day as I drove, I kept thinking that around the next bend I might see them, in a field, on a hillside, on the bank of a stream, 5 thin boys swaying in saffron robes, singing the names of God. This is called origami. A ruffled swan and 5 frogs, red, blue, white, green, and yellow, are gathered on the counter beside the checkout desk. Someone with time on her hands, to spare or kill or consecrate, has folded them and left them here like idle thoughts. The boy has turned his back to look for my books on the cart. I push at the yellow frog, just with a forefinger, and begin to think. I could cut my hand over it and carry it like a palmed coin or card slowly out the door and down the steps, and no one might ever know. But what if everyone grabbed a roadside flower or bent over way out west and pocketed a piece of petrified wood? But what if no one cared enough to take anything and just walked away empty-handed from the hard work of the world? But how many paper frogs and birds does one world need? And is it as many as 2 hands can manage in a lifetime to give life to? Look in the books that show frogs unfolding from flat sheets of paper and think of all the wrong turns to be made. How many attempts before any right-looking things take shape enough to tempt you until they are ready to be spirited away? The parts of flowers: pistil, stamen, anther, calyx, corona. Someone would start giggling. Some girl would blush, not knowing why. We were assigned to trace the pictures, to label the parts, then stand up and tell what everything was for. Something dirty was in it, in what the bee does, and then in talking about it. Some of us protested, but our teacher said it's natural and it's everywhere. That was just the point, that there was more going on around us than we had known. The intricate secrets, the hidden ways, the unfolding, the hovering, the violence of the taste and smell of the world brushing against us, the parts of flowers. This is called Parable. We had a peach tree that never did any good. If it had been cut back instead of left to grow this way and that, if the thrust of its life had been directed and concentrated, it might have made something of its poor inheritance. We kept hoping, but in its lifetime, not one peach ever achieved a full share of the desired sweetness. History came and went around it, not making sense. Hard and bitter though it was, we never lost the idea of a peach, that somewhere, someone might reach into a tangle of branches and walk away licking the juice. It stood alone out there in the wind. One March out of 10, an ice storm might leave it trembling and chiming as the sun rose through it, red and yellow and glowing, so that we forgave it everything. Coincidence. One thing and another is all that is necessary. I take the kitchen scissors and sift through the tough stem of a bunch of red grapes, making a smaller bunch, which I hold under the water until I count to 10 or 12 and then drop into a bag which I zip closed, thumb and forefinger hinged to the world. One thing and another thing. I go outside and take a seat in the dappled shade of an elm, one elm or another, that has over the last 28 years insisted on growing up through the fence. Not on my side or the other side, but weaving up through the middle, straddling an imaginary line, splitting the difference between here and there. I'm trying to think if there was one particular time when I decided it could have its way. I can't remember. Probably I was looking somewhere else, thinking of some other thing, while it went on growing until I had let it go too far. Under it now, I take one red grape from the bag and look for a moment at the light painted on it before I eat it, and then do this again until all the grapes are gone. This is called Night Watch. The old cat has taken to walking through the house moaning. So the only way to try to restore the night's even hum is for me to get up and stand him on the bed and rub his stomach, and then to cup his head in my hand and hold him against me. That and part of a can of turkey. Or he will stop at the half-open closet door and stare into it with such concern I have to open it wide and show him what nothing looks like. Nothing but empty clothes hanging this way and that, impersonating a row of intruders. He stares into the hollow sleeves, then looks at me and walks away. I look at the moon and then turn back, feeling someone must be stepping into the room. One of those misshaped coats come to life. Nothing appears, but I have to go and open the door again to see for myself. Now I'm sitting across the room looking into the dark, staring at nothing. The cat has gone back to sleep. I can hear him wheeze, then hear him turn over and settle back in. Skin. It is capable, the skin, of such tricks. To itch or crawl, to bruise, to arouse, to change color in the sun, not fade but darken, to advertise its clear attractions, to hide its true purpose, to turn away and then to look over its shoulder. Thin or calloused, it can be at fault. A fingertip of red, a smudge of ashes, a diamond, desire applied with a brush, spelled out with a razor blade, a suit of armor, flags in the wind, the sound of trumpets, a stubbled field, a walled garden, a curving road, the smell of roses or apples, the taste of salt. This is called The Ghost of Collins Street. None of this was here. The peach tree tried to grow where this swimming pool has been sunk into the ground. This parking lot was a house. This was a fence and a garage, and behind the garage a shed, and back there a place for chickens. Here in the air, as high as you can reach, were roses on 3 trellises. Nothing remains of the little that happened here, except if you listen for it, you might hear the broken gate or look up and see an airplane come down low and wag its wings. About here, where the cement is wet, children built a rare snowman. Then they lined up and squinted into the sun.
Wow. Enigmatic and peculiar. Such a delight. Yes, Monty Jones. And we have had 6 just amazing cosmic poets tonight. Let's give a big hand for these 6 poets. Yay! And we will continue this story now with open mic, because this is what we're doing. This is our story tonight, and it's wonderful how it unfolds with each person. So I'm going to read a poem that I wrote based on a quote that I've been carrying around for 20 years by Tennyson. And that quote is, "Although I know not in what time or place, methought that I had often met with you, and each had lived in others' mind and speech." And I just love that. And finally I've been able to use those words, methought. I just love that. I mean, I know it's Old English or something, but it sounds like a child, like, me too go, you know, kind of thing. So it has kind of a funny twist to it. So this is called The Garden. Methought, in the beginning, there was the garden, long before straight-line factory farming. In the beginning was snake gut instinct and limbic brain of mammal's empathy. Methought, I am the mountain, crevice and valley. I am river, I am rock, plant and tree. My eyes moved and my hand has been a fin. My scaly reptile foot still leaves its print. Methought imitation is not a compliment, but just an insulting shallow template, lacking the joy of rich integrity, dry revenge, copycat, war god machine. Methought the men, the women of nature is the flower that changed the world's tincture. For the scroll of future is never fixed from judgment of birds who married and mixed. Methought, since the beginning, this is our garden. Since the beginning, earth is our island, spinning in an ocean of curving space, nursery of peace and garden of place. Here comes Cracker Fox. Cracker Fox.
What do you serve? If you would turn to page 1 of your Pimpernel, Yearn ponies. All the way at the end of a street, all the way to the end of a branch, all the way to where the horizons meet, all the yearn ponies party and prance. Yearn ponies reach out far to find room. Yearn ponies kneel 2 knees to the ground. Yearn ponies shuttle their dreams on the loom, yearning so as though they were so tightly bound. Look behind scenery, look behind doors, look up and down, in and out, over there. Look shocked and vacuous, always for more. Look sharp tonight for the one on the mare. On the carousel, ponies vie for position. On the carousel, yearning, they go on the fly. On the carousel, foaming, imagined transition. On the carousel, whirling, they hopefully sigh. Sigh.
I'm sorry we can only do one poem each. We're running late and we've got quite a list. So let's see if he's still here. Jeffrey Taylor, right there he is. Yes, Taylor. We have several Taylors here tonight. Maybe Elizabeth will show up later. You know.
This was published in the newsletter for the Pacific School of Religion. The editor had solicited a poem from... The editor had asked me for a poem for their graduation issue, and this is it. The Climb. My life has been a slow grind up from the depths of despair. Over and again, I've come to a place, the next hole beyond my reach. Sometimes I go back over precious gains to find another way around. where I reach, stretch, change my footing. Once or twice I pounded a hole where none existed and climbed on. Now I've come up into the light, midway on the endless climb. I look round, it's time to extend a hand down to my climbing partners. Someone made those holds I use as someone uses those holds I've made. When I needed it most, there's been a hand to help me pass a spot too tough. In the dark, I've not always seen. Hey, let's get back first. When I've needed it most, there's been a hand to help me pass a spot too tough. In the dark, I've not always seen the hand who's sought, not always seen the face whose hand extended. In the light, I know I need not climb alone.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And here comes my mountain man. He's back from the mountains, Gordon McGill.
Thank you. Let me take you on a trip to the high country, which I took a couple of weeks ago with my brother. This is called One Enormous Room. Climbing the rocky staircase trail of these Idaho mountains, the pack strains at my shoulders. My legs burn with fatigue. My lungs suck in at the thin, spicy air. The trail seems long and steep, but the miles fall away. The pines grow smaller the higher we go. I'm returning to a place I know from long ago, where all the pieces come together. We reach the high alpine lakes, enthroned beneath the peaks, like crystal sapphires set in granite thrones. No other people here. No roads, no noise, only the hush, the wind, the faint rock fall echo. Seamless, this world of sharp beauty, unfractured, horizons unobscured, no limits here. Only our fear of falling from the savage cliffs to the careless and uninitiated, danger. To the experienced and prepared, freedom. At the dawn, the first morning of the world. In the day, ceaseless changing close sky. Within the sunset, every sense enlivened. Enwrapped in twilight, the soul meditates. In the night, glimpses of starry infinitude. Here, every tiny wild blossom has its place. Every tree, each blade of grass, every moss and mushroom, bound and sustained by rock, snow, stream. Every insect that meets the trout's lips has its place. So the squirrel, the bear, the hawk that takes the trout. The lightning strike that fells a great tree, the snow crystal, the seeping rain, the persistent roots pushing into rock, all doing their work to free each atom bound toward its journey to the sea. We are brief visitors to one enormous room, here where wildness is as wildness has always been since the cooling of the molten planet, as life spread its mantle around the earth. Fish grew legs, reptiles wings, tiny mammals gave warm birth. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And now we have the birthday girl, Barbara, Forever Youngblood, yes.
Won't be over till next Friday. This is a lot of trouble. I can stand up this long. Although my back likes me to sit down. Well, y'all get ready because the festival's coming before you know it in April of 2015. AIPF lives. I was off the board, but I'm now back on it. I got voted off for 2 months, and then a couple people never showed up. So.
Whose fingers did you break?
Well, just a couple of kneecaps. No, it was actually a relief not to go for a couple of months to board meetings for after 22 years is long enough. But I won't be as busy this year as I've been in the past, hopefully. Oh yeah, rah. I would like to continue to do the venues that I do at the nursing home and everything. But as far as doing a lot of the legwork, I'm not going to be doing a lot of that. Well, I finished my book a couple months ago called Love Poems for My Doctors and Other Such Foolishness. Because I have a lot of medical issues, and the only way I can get through them is with a sense of humor. So, I got a new medication this week, and you can't tell me this kind of stuff, and I'm not going to write about it. On becoming a new creature. I just got a new med to rub onto my leg for pain, but one more time Medicare has screwed me again because their insurance will not pay even a portion of a mixed compounded cream no more. It's just one more of a myriad of Medicare rules, crime, shames. A medical care person told me today why Medicare and most other health insurances all say nay, nay. It's because 2 of the 4 compounds begin with keto and ketol, and they won't pay up for those meds, no way. Seems like those compounds consist of, get ready, yes sir, they are made and used for horse tranquilizers. You know where I'm going. So now my leg thinks it's part horse. But as I rub this new cream on my festlock, it gives me so much renewed energy. It puts a smile back on my face, and it quickens my wild side spirits so that I want to race. Or maybe gallop, but only to the coffee bar or the buffet line, that is. What with a long distance race being what it is. But then there are the other animal meds I use, of course, like rooster combs ground up in shots for my knees. So if they help me with my pain, give me more animal products, please. Now when you hear me begin to crow, or whinny like Mrs. Ed, of course, then you will know I'm becoming part chicken horse. Couldn't resist. Yep, when you hear me begin to crow or neigh, you'll know the truth is thus and so. For cock-a-doodle-doo, I'll say, and hi-yo-kita-kato away. Well, the Lone Ranger is one of my favorite things. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
I'm going to celebrate.
Have you met my son?
Hi. Son?
Yeah, hi.
I may have, but I don't remember a lot anymore. I'm getting close to your age.
How you doing? Happy birthday.
Thank you. I was born on Labor Day,
Oh.
and my husband was born on Halloween, so he married appropriately.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. And John Berry has left.
Oh, you?
Yeah, okay. Well, we have a new voice, Irene Meese. Let's give her a big hand.
Hi, thank you. I really enjoyed everyone's.
Can't hear you.
I really enjoyed everyone's words so far. Thank you. Okay, so here's a poem I wrote. It's called Howl in 3 parts. Part 1. Glowing orb hanging in the inky sky, spooking me with the fantastical moon shadows it creates and its piercing light. A lunar X-ray machine reading my soul, as if I were here for an appointment, right on time. The moon doctor, me, naked sky. Our session has begun. Deep, it cuts loose in memory, drawing emotions, slowly pulling, exposing the raw. Up, up, the memories rise, touching the night. Deep stirrings become sound, primal and round, they escape. Then another loosens, a boiling pot overflows, it cannot be contained. More rapidly and loudly, they are freed. Thick with what ifs, maybes, and almosts, the memories howl, not at the moon, but in its presence, where nothing is able to hide. The howls do not stop. Full circle they go, round, round, round the earth, burning all they touch with deep, searing red. Finally, they return as a whisper, an old story, now weightless and dull. Red recedes to the night's inky black. At last, all is silence, in the air, in my bones. 2. Someone hears a distant cry. Chills run up the spine, draws a blanket close. 3. Lightness in the crisp morning, surprising sweetness. Unsure where this voluptuous feeling comes from, but the world feels fresh, like the bite of a cold, juicy apple. All is possible.
Nice, I hope you come back. Yes. Now we have the one and only Herman Nelson. Yes, and his son is here to witness this also. Herman. Sit down here.
No, I want to play the guitar.
Oh, okay, great.
Oh, there's people. I want to keep on. It's in the box. Okay, this was written for a singer. Her name was Carol. I don't remember her last name. That's because I'm old. And she sang at the Continental Club. This was back in the late 60s or early 70s. So it's a sad song. This lady is lover has departed. And she says, the house is a mouse, so quiet is she. Not a sound, not a rustle I hear. Alone in my house, just sipping my tea. I've time to indulge in a tear. The bed in the bedroom is a Siamese twin. The one twin is severed and dead. When one side is wrinkled, the other tucked in. It's no fun to make half a bed. Tick-tock claims the clock. You live in the past. Now it's time you woke up to my hand. Your lover is gone. Forget him and fast. Good Lord, don't you know where he stands? But what does the clock know of kitchen and bedroom and words that work deep to the soul? His hands hide his face and he's only an heirloom. No time may be taking his toll. I spilled out a pill to go with my tea. Now my headache has grown severe. My mind won't stand still. Oh, where can he be? No time to indulge in time to indulge in a tear.
Now, Magic Jack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gordon said that Herman was the Jacques Brel of Austin. I think it's true. Yeah.
You what?
You're the Jacques Brel of Austin. You know Jacques Brel? Oh, don't have to tell you about Jacques Brel. It's good. It's good.
Okay.
He's famous.
Very good.
Thank you. I'm not going to do it. Everybody else is.
Good evening. All of you who decided to stay. Appreciate it. didn't expect to be up here this quick. I know there's other people that need to come up here, so I'll just do one quick song. But, last month, at the beginning of July, it was on the news quite a bit about the children coming across the border. And these are really sad stories that affected my heart. And I think more than anything, the way that people were responding to it, people that are my friends even, and the things that people were saying, just disgusted me. The lack of humanity that some people have towards this situation. These are children, they're not terrorists. And so I was motivated to write this. And the words started out actually poetically, and then it just turned into a song. Sometimes that happens to me. The kids are coming across the border looking for some food and water. And maybe, just maybe, the kids are coming across the border looking for some food and water. Where is that mercy now? Where is that Jesus mercy now? Where is that mercy, please? These children are on their knees praying. Can you hear the guitar? They're coming across that border and they're looking for some food and water. Oh, maybe the kids are coming across that border and they're looking for some food and water. And maybe, oh, maybe, where's that mercy now? Where is that Jesus mercy now? Where's that mercy, please? These children are on their knees praying. They don't need your scorn. These poor kids are torn apart. They don't need more hate. They need us to demonstrate some love. I ask you, where's that promised land for them? Where's that promised land? Where's that promised land for them? They're sleeping on a cold hard floor. They're trapped behind the closed like doors. And maybe, oh maybe, refugee children here waiting in constant fear that maybe, oh maybe, where's that mercy now? Where's that Jesus mercy now? Where's that mercy, please? These children's on their knees praying. They don't need your scorn. Into poverty they were born. They don't need your hate. They need us to demonstrate some love. Oh, oh. Where's that promised land? Where's that promised land for them? Where's that promised land for them? They flee from danger there, hoping for a life where maybe, oh maybe, violence has ruled their lives and they deserve a chance to survive. And maybe, oh maybe, you don't need your scorn. These poor kids were torn apart. demonstrate our love, our love. Their families long to hear some word from their children here. Maybe, oh maybe, hope of a better life, a life that's free from strife and maybe, hope of a better life, a life that's free from strife and maybe, oh maybe. A better life, a life that's free from strife and maybe, 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 oh maybe, some mercy. Please pray for those children. September 5th, we'll be at Patsy's. I believe it's September 5th. Dana and I and some of Dana's friends have been invited to Patsy's Cowgirl Cafe, Ben White, east of 35. So come on up. They have great food, drinks, and the staff is great. And the entertainment's pretty good too. Thank you very much.
Around the corner there. I didn't know she was still here. Let's hear it for Louise. Yay.
I normally read from my Kindle Fire tablet, but I'm going old school tonight. I have a very short poem and 4 haikus altogether. They equal about 1 regular poem. I wrote this one about a year ago, and the weather has come full circle since then. Relief. Perspiration chills my clothes on a breezy summer's day, the only relief I get from the sun. Then a blessed shower falls, beating on my upturned face, and I twirl and I dance in the rain. Many centuries, thank you, many centuries have passed, but it has remained ever thus. A simple sprinkle from the skies can still refresh and renew the soul. Last week I wrote my very first haiku, and I think I lost it. But I did manage to reference cherry blossoms and Mount Fuji. So, but yesterday I wrote 4 more. Woohoo at Harriet's group, which meets every Wednesday from 1 to 3 at Strange Brew. Founded by Robin Barrett, who will be up after me, and named after her cat Harriet, who is a literary kitty cat. Ice cream truck. Hot souls on asphalt, hopping anticipation, cool and sweet ice cream. Haiku, these are very short. Haiku, haiku, Wi-Fi coo, Kindle Fire tablet, boots, poetry appears. Iced coffee, caffeine smoothie sips, awakening sleepy brain, preferring slumber. And the final one, I have 2 cats, Miss Mocha Cappuccino and one of her sons, Giancarlo Cappuccino, who has a crooked tail in the shape of the number 7. Giancarlo. Number 7 cat, Giancarlo Cappuccino, likes rough handling. Thank you.
really short poem, so I'm not going to be taking up very much time. It probably took me longer to walk up to the front. It's a really short poem, but I wrote it Saturday morning about a dream I had overnight. I lit a new candle for Shabbat last night. We were supposed to let the candles burn all the way out. I couldn't do that with this beautiful scented gift. In my dreams, Shabbat lasted a week of peace, and I was awake for all of it. And the candle burned all the way out, finally exclaiming shalom as the flame disappeared. Thank you.
And Misty Rose, I think this is your first time here, huh? Yes, let's welcome Misty Rose.
I'll take you to New Orleans, where my dad was raised just off of Canal Street. Aye. First, I gotta tell you what lagniappe means. Extra, way over the top. It's a Cajun word. So this poem is called Madame Lagniappe at Bourbon Street. Lagniappe. Rap on her door to escape the careless crowd. Enter a time-worn Cajun tune with no off-key mess. She'll float you a dream in a meringue music cloud. Not any old cat lady is this celebrating baroness. Can steamy days and nights without salt be stored once a seasoned debutante succumbs to zydeco fun? Kneading knuckles offer a steady beat from the board. Her piquant perfume is the South's soft cinnamon. Candlewick your ears, there's a smoky sense of sage. Pass the dealer's den of futile rest and purge your head. Ponder a cloistered reading, accented to cloak a rage. Then tilt back your glasses from blues turned bloodshot red. She wears a whitewashed frock for the present's petite start. Her well-versed French tongue needs no voodoo. She can carefully echo your own bass booming heart. With ginger, snaps bring her focus to the life you pursue. Buried faults are aired above the vault's water line. In red light alleys, clubs of pestilence are dumped. Grinding soul music across the canal reveals no hex sign. Empty baggage gets laid where spades are trumped. Bar raccoons wait for possum pie at a peculiar carnival door, and gray dikes overflow with a view of plastic flamingos. Old sassafras leaves your stew too steep in filet flavor, but her crazy current flows with your highs and lows. This atmosphere bears otious bouquet and zephyr spray. Embrace her near the hanging moss before it's all uncurled. Try to forget those many cockfights from a troubled day. Come, escape from the mosquito itch of the buzzed world. Levy your foaming brew where the bloated seer reposes. She does not take off to pawn your ring's diamond part. Into all spice of life your mortal frets are ground. Alligator tips become paddles on slow soul tapping feet. Thereby you stenches washed by the frottoir sound. She weaves a wig over wisdom, fresh in misted baby powder. To bear a common identity mask, you masquerade but stole. Finger clasps ungloved, secret shades of amber power. The rhythm dares consume you through a donut hole. Beignets, slathered in clarified butter turned to beige, as pent-up feelings released from behind your own dam. Her message to you plays, if you don't mention age. Tell me what you love, and I'll tell you what I am. Your guilt-wrought spirit is where marching saints will meet. forged with an iron, than linen washed with golden pleasure. The jure of thoughts attest to this amethyst airborne seat, hovering over an emerald swamp of faltering faith in the cure. Where life is quartered, the hour at hand has its price. In the Creole's tide-worn basin, dreams flow down the drain. Off-white doves are just tired pigeons flying around mice. But here, when the rain falls, the frogs sing in your brain.
Thank you. Very spirited. Yes, yes. Okay, let's see. Is Angel still here? Angel. I guess he left. Okay. Ralph Hauser is still here, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say. He's always a surprise. Oh, about 30 seconds. No. We'll get in trouble for running through that. We can get
Oh, we still have some audience. All right.
Yeah, there's still a few.
Outing to the Promontory, 1945. Billy and I, smallest in that crowd, would follow adults up the hill, often at a run, having been waylaid by something new or foreign to our eyes. Two small cousins, neither one aware of forces gathering to change forever our peaceful world of rushing creeks and creatures bounding past our feet. The war was over, the aftermath begun. Whispered, anxious conversations, sidelong glances cast our way, then silences. Billy and I, caught up in disputes we could not comprehend, my own parents arguing in the night about who did what to whom. At school, no more whispers, only evidence. Photographs, testimony, even so, the euphemisms, this or that one, on the train. No translation needed, even for 8-year-olds. Returning to the hill, a distant city seduced, planted seeds of wanderlust. The power of its attraction ever greater, especially in this place that made me feel too small, too far, too isolated from the greater world. Grown old enough to walk alone, Billy chose to stay. I took the road until the hazy city clarified, became my home in exile.
Sitting over there patiently. Ben, let's have a hand for Ben.
For those of you who have stayed this long, that's very kind of you. It really is. I see a lot of people have left. I would have been here, thank you, I hope so. I would have been here earlier, but I was setting up over at the Palmer Center. Some of us actually work for a living. I wholesale Tibetan Nepalese handcrafted jewelry. So if any of y'all show up this weekend at Palmer Auditorium, I will give you the same maximum possible discount, the same that I give to the Smithsonian Institute. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, I'm a starving artist, you gotta help me. So anyway, this one is kind of topical, and when I wrote it in early July, I think people would have caught on, but events went way past, and a lot of people have forgotten what it's about. And it was published, and then I got letters from people asking me, why were you writing about Muhammad? It was not Muhammad the Prophet, founder of Islam. It was Mohammed, the Muslim boy who was killed in the vengeance for the 3 Israeli boys. So when you hear these first three names, those are the 3 Israeli boys who were kidnapped and murdered. Mohammed is the one who was murdered in revenge. When you hear yard-side candles are the candles you would have seen at the funerals of the 3 boys or at any Jewish funerals or the anniversary of Jewish people's death. They light the yard-side candles, which are for mourning. And also Kaddish, which appears in the poem. Kaddish are the poems for mourning of the dead. This poem is entitled Light 3 Candles. Light 3 candles, light 1 for Naphtali, light 1 for Gilead, light 1 for Iyah, light 3 yard-side candles. It was no crime to be innocent students. Say Kaddish and call for justice. Light another candle for Muhammad. It was no crime to be in the path of vengeance. Say Kaddish and call for justice. Light 4 more candles for black girls in Birmingham. It was no crime to go to church. Say Kaddish and call for justice. Light more candles for teenage girls in Pakistan. It was no crime to go to school. Say Kaddish and call for justice. Light another candle, and another, and another. Light candles all over the world. Light candles for the grief of silent chairs and empty beds. Light candles in the homes of parents, of brothers, of sisters. Light candles in the homes of aunts and uncles and cousins. Light candles in the homes of friends and neighbors. Light candles in the homes of strangers who just wanted to stop. Say Kaddish and call for justice. Light so many candles that they burn in every street and every town. Burn through every day and through every night. When there are enough candles, then there will be justice. The justice is named peace. Thank you.
Beautiful grand finale to our story tonight. Yes, so Jack wants us to have a group picture, and then we gotta get out of here. We're way over. So we come up to the stage and everybody get in the picture. Our illustration of our story.
Everybody ready? Let's do another. Yeah, just for a little bit of fun and jazz. Jazzy doo-dah. Jazzy doo-dah.
Fire away.
Village. Okay, that's three. You want to go more than three?
Everybody can see, everybody make a face.
Yeah, number one.
Red Raiders, number one. It's all turn round.
One for unity. One
Hey,
for
I'm
unity.
gonna graduate. Barbara wants to know
One
which
for
finger to
unity.
use.
One for unity. Unity.
Okay.
And make sure it's not the middle finger.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to look and
Watch
see
the
what
camera
I
now. Okay, you better walk.
Come and look and see.
Everybody hold it.
Okay. We gotta go, guys. Wait. Fingers are in the way.
Oh, what if it's all set?
Yeah. Okay, good. Oh, goodness. All right. I think we're done. Okay. We gotta get out of here.
You're free to roam the planet.
I really like the song you're singing. That's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Up there, and it is shocking.
My script. Chicky Dee. Very beautiful.
I love it. Thank you for being here. I wish we could have had you sing the last round.
I was kind of hiding out. I didn't see you. That's it. I was in this house.
I see.
And I was hanging out there. I was really
There was a wall.
Yeah, that was
The other just
I was just trying to hang and dig it off. I loved it. It was wonderful.
That's right. Thank you for being here. Oh, you guys make it so much fun. So much fun.
The frog sings in your brain.
I know it wasn't the same as
She's pretty.
like 2 or 3 times a year.